talking about
It's
the,
not a terrible idea, actually.
no, it's
No,
not.
it's not.
I gotta use the bathroom, and I'll sit in on it.
When he was talking about the vein in the throat,
Right, yeah,
your elderly that are having heart problems,
sure.
it will
Yeah.
stick out,
Mhm.
and you can watch the blood flow through.
Right. See, which might be an instance not of a threat, but okay. In that case, it's like,
Medical.
yeah, a medical issue, right, in which case, you know, we probably need to do some kind of life-saving training around here that way as well, but,
Yeah,
for
because
the most part, I'm
Rob's
gonna,
not here.
I was gonna say, yeah, if he's here, I'm calling him, if not, it's like, okay, quick, what's the number for 911?
Did we ever get an AED?
I think we've talked about that, they're, I think, pretty difficult and expensive.
Well, I thought,
I think they're pretty expensive.
Yeah,
John
they
said
are.
one time, there might be a grant or something to where we can get one.
Okay, I think I've heard whisperings of that too, what do you got, Marlon?
Maybe check with the hospital.
Sure.
And, talk with, Dr. Abels. He does a lot of the first aid for EMTs,
Oh, okay,
that maybe he would be willing to put one on for us.
right, okay,
And I don't think it would cost us anything.
sure, okay, Dr. Abels, you said?
Dr. Dwayne Abels.
Okay.
Well, I know first aid, but I do not know CPR.
I just say,
Yeah,
the prison,
At one time,
they
they
teach me,
changed that from
they teach everyone that works in the prison, first aid
one or two,
CPR.
or
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden now you just pump
It's,
until EMT, I don't know which one's right.
it's 32.
Okay. But there's also one where the doctors have got together, it's probably just better for you to keep pumping, don't stop until
Now,
EMT
they
gets ready.
switched it for the bus, I don't know if they've changed it, but I know when I was driving a bus, it was 30 to 2.
Okay.
32. Okay.
Breaths are optional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There, see, that's what you came to do, confirmation.
I got some medical training.
There you go, cool. Yeah, and that's the thing too, it's not always gonna be security threats, sometimes it's gonna be medical training, you know, so. And then, it's kind of something we're trying to enforce with our kids, actually, of all things, is, you know, all feelings are okay, all actions are not. You know, so you're gonna get people in that are gonna show signs of, you know, being in a certain state or a certain condition, but until they actually, you know, which gives us cause for, okay, keep an eye on them, you know, and until they act violently, you know, then it's like, well, so who was here, what was that, 2 years ago? Was that, what's her name, Kathy? Was that, up here in the front row, as the service is getting started? Pastor Josh is standing up, and she's in the second or third row, I think. He's getting up to start the service, and she kind of, I'm sitting kind of next to her in the front row where Des and I would usually sit, and she kind of leans forward, kind of gasps and goes, "You're the pastor?" And like stands up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the pastor. We're trying to get our church service started." And she starts going off about like, I don't even remember what it was, but just like making the ruckus.
I wasn't actually there that day that happened, but
Yeah.
she did it again later on.
I've slept since then. Yeah, we haven't seen her for a while.
She
But-
did it again on a birthday party for, it had to do with rain.
Oh, yeah, she was walking the
Yeah.
whole walk.
She was
It
talking
was
about the
painful.
wall of Jericho and just walking as we're
Yeah.
just standing
Yeah, no,
outside.
she
and
was,
I'm like,
he's talking about somebody saying that their minister was like demon possessed and hurting children. No, she was convinced that we were like had something to do with like demonic possession and like there were what was it, like radio waves or something. Somehow we were linked to the refinery and you know, in with like all this nefarious like extra governmental stuff. It was like, that's news to us.
She wearing an aluminum hat.
Yeah, I mean, that,
She
yeah.
lives around here, at least she did.
Yeah, she
I
lives
don't
in
know.
town. I haven't seen her for a while, probably a year or so.
I know that.
Also, we should probably, in case I'm not here during the service,
Mhm.
there is a certain way that vomit, blood,
Right.
body fluids are supposed to be cleaned up.
Yes.
Everybody that's here during a service or any MOD should
Mhm.
probably know that procedure.
Yes. Yeah. Bloodborne pathogens. That you gotta be careful with that. Yeah, we've got, you know, on all our school buses, we've got body fluid cleanup kits, and rule number 1 from my training back in Park City was if it's wet and it's not yours, don't touch it. So, Marlon.
These requirements aren't gonna
Well,
No,
I already got that.
yeah, I already have.
I'm
mine
asking
to
for
do
the
it.
ones who didn't, but,
right,
yeah, 'cause I got mine to,
Sure. yeah, so. Any other discussion, any other questions, comments? With that, pretty straightforward, I think a lot of it just takes practice, you know, so, just knowing what to look for, but again, still maintaining the welcoming atmosphere. He was getting ready to talk about that Dirty Harry scene, when when the environment is different, but, you're not quite sure what's going on. I think that's probably the only scene I've actually seen from that movie, because that's where the lead up to the line, "Are you feeling lucky?" Yeah. And so he goes into this coffee shop where he always gets it, and from what I remember, he's pretty distracted. The main character goes in, he's pretty distracted. He's looking at a newspaper or something. Goes in, getting his regular coffee, whatever, and everybody in the restaurant's just like frozen. Like, and there's like this weird looking guy behind the counter, but he's like zoned in. He's just sitting there. She's like pouring the coffee and pours a ton of sugar in his cup. He didn't even notice. He just grabs it. Okay, thanks. Goes out, and as he's outside of the restaurant, he takes a sip and he's like, "I always get it black." And he turns around and looks, and there was the one guy behind the counter was holding up, robbing the store when he just before he had come in, and so he goes back and addresses the situation. So just a lot of good stuff there. Like I say, identifying your area and identifying people in the area. So. Does anybody, I guess, hey, you got a break when you came in. Anyone need a break? We good there for the next one? It's another about a half-hour video. Handling difficult people and de-escalation. We good? Go ahead and do this one then. Okay. And we'll have another opportunity for a break after this one.
Welcome to Christian Warrior Training. My name is Keith. In this episode, we're going to talk about conflict resolution. Now, look, the church is not immune from people coming in and causing disturbances. Now, if you are not a Christian, but you want to learn how to deal with difficult people, this is the place for you. If you are on a church security team, this is most definitely the place for you. The training that I'm going to give you, it's going to be short, it's going to be simple. I'm going to give you some tools to deal with difficult people. I dealt with difficult people for 30 years as a police officer in the San Francisco Bay Area. You can only imagine in that area the number of difficult people that there are. The same stuff I'm going to teach you is what I taught academy recruits, what I taught my trainees on the road, and it's what I did myself when I was on the street. First off, let's talk about the learning objectives for this course. We're going to understand the core concepts of de-escalation. We'll talk about the critical decision-making model, or a CDM. We'll talk about strategic communication, and then I'm going to give you different communication models to deal with people out on the street or in the church or wherever you may be. De-escalation, we hear a lot about de-escalation. They try to make it sound like it's this new thing. It is not. I first became a police officer in 1989. I used de-escalation my entire career. I was taught it way back in '89. This is nothing new. It's just something people seem to think cops never did before, I guess. It's something that anybody could use, especially if you conceal carry, if you work in a church. It's a skill you need. And basically what de-escalation is, it's a process of using strategies and techniques intended to decrease the intensity of the situation. Now, remember that de-escalation is a two-way street. It takes two people to de-escalate. So I can try and de-escalate a situation, but if the other person doesn't want to de-escalate, it's not going to work. So the things that we do will help them, guide them to de-escalate with us. So there are some common misconceptions about de-escalation. So as an example, if a security member uses force, that means they failed to de-escalate. That is not true. Look, if a security member had to use force on somebody, sometimes that's just unavoidable. Again, it's a two-way street. Sometimes that other person doesn't want to de-escalate. Another misconception is that security members are being required to walk away or to retreat. We're not teaching you to do that either. We're teaching you how to talk smarter and how to use key phrases to help people turn around and basically give them an off-ramp from their current behavior. There's also a misconception that security members are letting their guard down if they de-escalate, and that is definitely not true. It's actually the best cops that I've seen on the street are people who are really good at de-escalation. Another misconception is that de-escalation is too difficult to apply in rapidly changing situations. Look, a guy comes into your church and starts shooting people. No, you're not going to. There's only one way to de-escalate that, And we all know which way that is. But certainly, you have somebody battering another person, I've de-escalated that pretty quickly just with my words. So we're going to teach you how to do that. The benefits of de-escalation is a reduced danger to security members and to your congregation. It also improves congregation cooperation. People see that you're trying to de-escalate this, and it helps get buy-in from them. It also has a positive impact on security member wellness. It is beneficial to them. Now, let's talk about some core concepts. Now, security members should attempt to recognize the congregation's physical and psychological reactions to situations. It's kind of one of the things we like to talk about, atmospherics. Security members should also try to recognize their own physical and psychological reactions to situations. Now, some guy can come up. I'll give you an example. A guy came into one of our campuses last week or 2 weeks ago, and he came in to argue with everybody about Scripture in a negative way. He was coming in, talking Scripture, and then using it to explain how God is not real in his mind. Certainly that gets a guttural reaction for some of us, and he was being kind of a jerk about it too. He was being very angry about it, and thank God we had a very good security team member who just came over and said, "Hey, we appreciate what you're having to say, but you're just looking for an argument and you won't find it here. So it's time that you left," because there was no talking to him. You weren't gonna get anywhere with him. And that worked. He walked out the door and we were all done, and there were no fights, no bad things happening in the church. Tactics and techniques may assist in decreasing the situational intensity of a situation and gain voluntary compliance. So the things that you do are going to help de-escalate the situation. Now, some more core concept is self-control. I have had some very hateful things said at me before about my family, just everything. And I've had to have the self-control to just ignore it and move on. So understanding of physical and psychological reactions of the public and security team members is going to assist you in maintaining self-control. Now, effective communication, clear commands and questions, good observation and listening skills, and appropriate terminology is going to enhance the likelihood of success. Another core concept is scene assessment and management. So when possible, you want to provide security members with an accurate picture of what is occurring, and it assists in the management of options. So as an example, we had a lady coming in who thought one of our pastors was possessed by the devil, and she would come in and basically surveil the area and leave. Many people had talked to her, and we got the feel that there was some mental illness going on. So when we finally asked her, "Hey, we need you to leave and not come back," because she was becoming more dangerous, like you could see it building up within her, we were able to know ahead of time what were her triggers. We knew to keep that pastor away, and we knew to just kind of brush her aside and help her move on out of the building, so that way she didn't cause any problems. And it worked out lovely, and we haven't seen her since then. Now, some more on those core concepts. It includes force options. Now, reasonable use of force techniques can reduce situational intensity for the safety of all parties. If you want to know more about use of force, I have a video on that, another class that you can take. You can head over to courses.christianwarriortraining.com. You can take that course, see the video, get a certificate, and that'll help you better understand some of your options that are out there. But the most important thing to remember with force options, it is almost always best to have law enforcement deal with situations where you might have to go hands-on. Now let's talk about the critical decision-making model. So when forming a plan to address a security event, security members should keep in mind the universal respect for human life and dignity. The components of the critical decision-making process include collecting information, assessing the situation, threats and risks, law and policy, plan, and then act, review, and reassess what you're doing. Let's get into each one of those individually so we better understand. Now, collecting information. Now, the collection of information prior to and during the use of de-escalation and a threat risk assessment may be considered while using de-escalation techniques. So, de-escalation techniques that are attempted or actually utilized should be documented in the appropriate reports related to an incident. In de-escalation techniques that can be documented include but are not limited to information gathered prior to arriving at the scene, use of distance, use of additional security team members, communication and verbalization techniques that you use, the level of success or failure of each de-escalation technique that you used. Now, look, I gave an example in a prior video about some armed Satanists that showed up at a church in Boise, Idaho. De-escalating them is going to be very difficult. I would not bother. I would actually call the police and let them deal with it. I give you some hints on dealing with that if you have that issue in the future. But certainly what you can do is you can go out there and engage them in conversation and try to help them move on. When you're done, you can go back and write a report about what you did, because you're going to want to document everything in case something does happen later on down the road. And you want to document everything that you did to try to de-escalate that and how they ignored it. It's honestly going to help the police later on when they have to deal with them and they have a use of force with those people. It's going to help the police later on down the road to show that they just wanted nothing to do with it. So another thing we're going to do is assess the situation, the threats, and the risks. So assessing the situation includes, but it's not limited to, determining if the situation poses a threat or a risk to other people. As an example, we have armed Satanists outside of the church. Yeah, that's a huge risk, and that is going to pose a threat to everybody. You want to determine if the threat requires an immediate response. Yes, you have armed people outside of the church. I think I need to go out and deal with that. And you want to determine if there's an imminent threat that requires some kind of action. Well, they're not pointing rifles, they're just acting like buffoons out there. And it's going to be more of a talk to try and get them to move on. But a really common one that you might come across is like a parent that comes up to pick up their child when they don't have custody. And the Sunday school calls the parent that has custody. They come down, and now those two are arguing in the Sunday school area. In a situation like that, you're going to look at the overall. What I like doing in a situation like that is I look and I go, I don't want people arguing in front of kids like that. And it's disrupting the church. So what I always like doing is I like walking up going, hey guys, we're in the church. Why don't we take this outside and talk outside? And then what that does, everybody will almost, I haven't had anybody not comply with this. They kind of go like, yeah, I'm in the church and I'm arguing, this is bad. They come outside, but the children stay behind. And so now you've separated them from the children. It gets them outside. It gives time for the police to show up to come deal with who has custody, because that's not going to be you that determines custody. It's going to be the police. And you go outside, and then now you've de-escalated by changing the atmosphere and moving somewhere else. Now, assessing the threats includes, but is not limited to, awareness of the overall situation. Let's go back to the people that were arguing in the Sunday school. Yeah, you've got two grown adults yelling at each other in the Sunday school, right? You want to assess and request appropriate resources. Do I need the entire security team? No, I probably just need 2 people to come deal with it. Do you need cover and concealment? Well, I do worry about somebody shooting me all the time, because that's 30 years law enforcement. I have had a lot of bad things happen. So I am constantly looking, like, if something happened, if the husband pulls a gun to shoot mom, to take the kid, is there a place I can seek cover to return fire or what have you, right? And the distance between security members and the subjects. We are going to do a video on contact and cover, which is basically the 2 of you contact a person that concerns you, and you form a triangle, and one person does business, one person just covers you. And we'll talk about how to do that later. We have to go outside and video some of that, and we'll show you how that's done. Assessing risks includes, but isn't limited to, what's the subject's behavior? Are they mentally ill, like the lady that thought our pastor was possessed by the devil? Or are they just upset because they feel that they have custody of their child? What's the subject's condition? Are they under the influence of drugs? Are they under the influence of alcohol? Or, do they, again, have some kind of mental illness? What are some communications issues? I had a suspicious person in my church that somebody called out when I contacted him. He was actually very nice, but he was also on the spectrum significantly. And talking to him, there was a lot of things that were interfering with him, and I could see right away that a lot of the verbal things, like touching him, sounds, a lot of stuff was disturbing to him. We work that out so we can talk to him and have a great conversation. Does the subject have access to weapons? I live and work in a state where we have constitutional carry. Anybody can carry a gun. And we teach a class on how to identify armed people. I'll do an exercise at the front of our building as people come in. No less than 30% of my congregants are armed, because we're in Idaho. People are armed. Is that something that's going to cause a problem for you, right? And then what's the subject's special skills or knowledge? Is there something you should be concerned about that you could use to help communicate? Like, what do you have going on exactly? We also have law and policy. So you also need to consider, is there a legal reason or an obligation to act? As an example, let's go back to that armed satanic church out front. Is there a obligation to act? Well, they're off your property, and they are abiding by all laws, and they aren't violating a law. It's just somebody you need to monitor. Now, certainly you can go over there and ask them like, hey, you're disturbing people. Can you please move on? But that's what they want. That's what they're there for. You have to ask yourself, is there a legal reason or an obligation to act? What legal power does a security team member have based on federal, state, and local ordinances? Remember, you're not a police officer. Your job is not law enforcement. And a lot of people forget that sometimes. It's really hard for us that we're in law enforcement that we're not doing that anymore. It's hard to separate that part from ourselves. But you need to keep that in mind. And are the security team member actions within church policy? What is your policy? Do you have policy? If you don't have policy, you might want to come up with one because it's kind of important. You also want to have a plan. So the security team members should identify roles and responsibilities of the people who are going to make contact with this person. As an example, hey, I'm going to contact them. I just need you two to cover me. And that's it. And I'll do all the talking. Are there any contingencies? Hey, if he pulls a gun and starts shooting, then, you know, the three of us are going to engage that. But we need the other security team members to start moving people to safety, right? We don't want everybody to start shooting. We got our designated shooters. And we have other options and resources. Yeah, call 911 and ask for help and get the police there. Some of you, it may take a while because you're out in the middle of nowhere. Some of you, it may be really quick because you're in a city. And then you also want to utilize time. On SWAT, I was on SWAT for 20 years. One of the things that we had was time, talk, and tactics. It was time, just use your time to draw this out, keep talking to the people, and then use tactics to try and stop it. But time and talk were the top two out of those three. Tactics came in last. Time, you can use time on your side to draw this out to give yourself some space. And then lastly, we want to act, review, and reassess. So de-escalation is dynamic, and security members should implement a plan and prepare to adjust it if you need to. You want to assess whether that action has a desired effect, and if that action has a desired effect, is there anything more that can be done? And then finally, you want to review what lessons can be learned following the conclusion of that contact. It's called a debrief. I love debrief. I get everybody together and say, all right, let's debrief. I've been doing that for decades. And this is not the time for people to get butthurt about their performance or anything else. We are having an open conversation about becoming better. The best teams that I saw were the ones that can do a debrief and nobody gets hurt and they don't take it personally. They just go, yeah, I can do better next time. That's how you become better as a team member. So let's talk about the effect of time on security member planning and tactics. So although rapidly evolving and violent incidents may not allow security members to try and slow things down, using the time when safe and practical to do so may aid in reducing the intensity of that situation. So although there are situations where security members can't delay in acting, many can be handled safely and effectively by allowing more time to transpire. So these strategies and techniques to de-escalate a situation may affect security member safety, situational awareness, and tactical repositioning. Creating distance may calm an irate individual, and it could help reduce the person's intensity. But if doing so poses a loss of situational control, or security member or public safety are further jeopardized, then adding distance may be counterproductive to achieving a positive outcome. Now, situational awareness is a critical consideration in de-escalation. Recognizing what may be an immediate threat, seeing people or items causing agitation to a violent suspect, like a wife or a husband that's there, making it worse, or understanding how some stimuli are altering behavior, aid a security member in responding well to an incident. Tactical repositioning is often utilized for security member safety, and it can also be considered a de-escalation technique. So a security member being less or more visible can affect actions of other people. One of the things that I like doing, we practice every once in a while on how to deal with people that are in the congregation yelling at the pastor. Not that we've had that, but what happens if it does? One of the things that we did was that if we've got our rows of seats, what we found was if the person's in the middle yelling, that if we evacuate the row in front, the row behind, and then everybody from that row, and we clear everybody out and they leave. Now there's 3 rows and just that single disruptor in the middle. And everybody that we put there ends out calming down, even though they know it's a drill and we've told them don't calm down, keep getting angry. Everybody calms down because all of a sudden they're exposed. They don't have cover of people anymore. And so removing those people and exposing that person by themselves, it makes it safe for us, because now if we have to go in and deal with that person, we don't have our own people in the way, and it makes it easier for us to go grab them. It's safer for everybody around, but they lose that cover. And every single time we do it, everybody calms down every single time. it works really well. So the vantage points from which security members observe must provide for security of member safety. One of the things that I like doing is being up in the balcony, and I can watch the entire congregation down below. So if something does happen, I can call it out right away. But also, as I'm calling it out, if something happens, they can see that I'm up there, and now they know I'm being watched by this guy up above, and people are coming in. Different positions can also direct someone's attention elsewhere, or draw them away from threats, or help de-escalate that situation overall. Now, gaining useful information prior to arriving at an incident and continuing to update it during the call can assist security members with a better understanding, while possibly providing additional solutions not recognized without that information. So getting that continual update for whoever contacted you about what's occurring really does help you out a lot. So for an example, knowing a despondent person's child recently died would be helpful to a security member trying to assist them. Gathering information on medications or medical issues of that individual. Contacting a family member, but be careful with that one. Sometimes contacting a family member and bringing them in can actually make things worse. So just, I throw that out, just be careful with that one. Assess whether the action has the desired effect. If the action has a desired effect, is there anything more that can be done? And lastly, review what lessons can be learned following the conclusion of incident by contacting family members for additional information on that individual. When you document these incidents, because you're going to have to document everything that occurs, right? You have to protect the church and protect yourselves and create intelligence for your people. When documenting incidents where de-escalation techniques are utilized, security members should include specific words spoken and suspect actions taken and not taken. The documentation should provide a clear understanding of what the security member was facing, the actions taken, the observations made, and other important facts related to the security members and others' actions. Now let's talk a little bit about strategic communication, how to handle verbal abuse, deflection, and redirection. People are going to hammer you with some hateful words. Security members may need to deal with persons who are angry, they're upset, or they verbally lash out at you. Instead of responding in kind, because we don't do that, security members may be able to deflect or redirect the conversation in a more positive direction. So this can be done with the use of verbal deflectors. Some verbal deflectors include, I appreciate that, but I understand that, but I got that, however, maybe so, but I hear that, however. All right, so using those deflectors work really well. Those verbal deflectors allow the security member to focus on the issue and not the attitude. So the phrase also acknowledges the other person's concerns. So the key to using verbal deflectors is to deflect the comment, then to immediately add that but or however. So as an example, if somebody goes, "You're an asshole," you can come around and say, "That may be so. However, I need you to leave the church," right? So you're acknowledging, or you can just say, "I hear that. However, I need you to leave the church." Or what I really like doing is just, "I understand what you're saying, but you're in the church swearing. Why don't we take that outside and bring it outside?" And then a lot of people will look at that and go, "Yeah, you're right. I'm in the church. I shouldn't be doing this." And they leave. Or some people are like, "Nope, I had my say and I'm gone." The worst thing you do is go, "I'm an asshole. You're a effing asshole." That's the worst thing you can do. And that's not what Jesus wants us to do. So that's not what we should be doing. All right. So here are some communications models. One is called LEAPS. It's listen, empathize, ask, paraphrase, summarize. So you want to listen to what the other person has to say. You want to empathize with the other person by trying to understand his or her feelings. You want to ask questions to get more information from the other person. Possible questions include asking who, what, when, where, why, and how. You want to paraphrase what you've heard to show the other person that you are listening, that you understand what he or she is saying. So as an example, you can say, "Let me make sure I heard you correctly. You said," and then just repeat back what they said. And then you want to summarize by giving a possible solution to the situation. For an example, you can say, "From what you've said, let's do whatever. Let's leave the church and take this outside." That works every time. They also have a 5-step method. The 5-step method is ask. You have an ethical appeal. "I need you to leave the church." You can set context, a reasonable appeal. Tell them why. You're being really loud and it's disrupting the congregation and it's giving you some unwanted attention. You want to present options, like your personal appeal. Always present the positive option first. "Hey, why don't we go outside before the police come? So you can stay here and wait for the police, or we can step outside. Well, nobody wants to talk to the police, so they'll go outside. You got the confirmation stage. It's your practical appeal. Is there anything else I can say to gain your cooperation? I'd like to think you'd work with me. And I did that a lot on the street. I would always ask, is there anything I can say or do to convince you that you need to leave right now? And some people say, no. Awesome, you're under arrest. No, just kidding. A lot of times it did end up like that. But a lot of people hear that and they know where this is going. And lastly, act. Disengage to wait for further assistance or immediately move to a force option. So let's say our lady is stalking our pastor because she thinks he's possessed by the devil. It's very easy to understand she might use force to remove the devil from the pastor in her mind. So in that instance, I'm giving you a hypothetical. If we ask her to leave and she refuses and the police are coming, then we may want to just disengage and then stand by and wait in case something happens that we can jump on that if we need to, and then just wait till the police show up. Or we can tell her, hey, and this really happened to me. All of a sudden the pastor showed up and try to engage with her. Now, thank goodness nothing bad happened, but you can see her getting amped and amped and amped. And I finally had to tell, this is my de-escalation for this situation. I had to tell the pastor, I need you to leave right now. And he kind of looked at me funny and I'm like, no, I said right now, leave. And he left and then she calmed down. So my de-escalation was getting him out of there. He wanted to pray it out, which I get, and that's appropriate a lot of times, but not for somebody with severe mental illness that's hallucinating that the devil is in him. You have to think, like, what are you going to do? Because certainly I don't want to use force. I want to do everything I can to avoid that, and I've lived my life like that, and it's worked really well. What can I do to avoid force? Doesn't mean I'm not going to use force if I have to. I'm doing everything I can to avoid this, including offending the pastor, saying, I need you to leave right now. I need you to, and it de-escalated everything. She left right away. Everything was perfect. Okay, that's all I've got for communication, de-escalation. It's really simple. This is what your next steps are. Your next steps are to do role play training with your security team doing these exact incidents. Set up an argument, set up, some mentally ill person coming in. Do these different scenarios and then act it out, because what's going to happen is you're going to deal with these situations before they really happen, and you're going to become really good at it. And so if you don't do those exercises beforehand, you're not going to do real well when the real day shows up. So it's best to make those mistakes in the role play. We call it reality-based training. I've written a lot of those articles about reality-based training in Christian Warrior Training. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at www.christianwarriortraining.com, and you'll get those updates all the time. So that's all I've got for now. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot there, but I'd save that website. He's got a lot of good information on it. The whole course, all these courses, everything. He's whether it's his YouTube channel or his website, all of it's free. And you can go in, like I said, get the certificate, whatever else. Everything he offers is free. You can donate. He's got a kind of a subscription side of it, but nothing is behind a paywall. It's kind of learn but support if you want to, kind of thing, or if you can. So I'd save that, and maybe even at a separate time go back and rewatch any of that. Maybe you missed. You cover a lot in a little bit of time. Any discussion, questions, thoughts, comments? Okay, a lot there. But
Do you guys do some of that at work?
We go through a lot of training about de-escalating, because, it's handled a little different with people that are in
Yeah.
prison versus the community, but
And you can't ask them to step outside.
no. And it's a little more violent, I will say, inside a prison than it is
Yeah.
here. If it happens, you can't be forceful or rude towards these people here versus in the prison. These guys are already in trouble for being stupid.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna be handing out nightsticks or batons or it's funny the similarities. I just kept thinking of Kathy, like that was like her mindset.
But if you do want a weapon like that, I have some in my closet down there.
There you go, the AKA the armory. So cool. Well, if we're good there, why don't we go ahead and take a break, 5 to 10 minutes here, and then we'll kind of get back to it and look to go over a couple of shorter videos. So. I take a few minutes, use the restroom if you need to, get a drink.
How you doing today?
Good.
Hey, I didn't know there was this training going on today.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I was actually at the park.
Oh, wow.
But, I have to tell you, can I get these videos somewhere?
Yeah, and I was actually at the end gonna send out links, I can send them to you too.
Please.
Yeah.
I won't. I imagine you probably talked about it at church.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but, and it was, I mean, it was kinda last minute, I mean, we
Yeah.
planned it for a while, but we weren't able to get together until this week, and so
Okay.
some of it feels kinda haphazard, but yeah, I can send them out to you for sure.
Will I still be able to join the mod?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I watched the.
You just give me your phone number and I'll put you in our group.
Okay. And I think I already got a background check from the first time I tried to join.
Okay,
If
could
you
be,
tried to join before.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, but then I was fighting fire and I was gone really all the time.
and I can have Des check on that.
If
see
we
it's
need to
still-
do another background check, just.
'cause I know Brooks is still good.
Yeah.
I can have her check on yours too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna send those links via email or text?
Either one, I can email it or text it or.
Whatever works for you.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta pee, but
Yeah, no worries.
thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I ruined your show.
Always a pleasure to see you,
I
man.
was like, man, I gotta use the bathroom. Oh, somebody's there. And then I was like, oh, shit.
What? What? Somebody.
Yeah, a lot of somebody's. I was like, uh-oh. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, take care, bro. Sneak back here and use the restroom.
iPhones are stupid. I have to create a whole new group. We can add people to the current group. I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll send it out later.
Heard noise and I was like, oh. Cool. I don't know if that was his video or my stuff cutting out.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I'm like, well, because the first video didn't do that.
No, and so I don't know if it was like when I downloaded or.
I can't remember because I've watched all these before. I just don't remember
See, no
if that one did it or not.
Right.
I don't think it was your setup though.
Right. See, I'm not sure how to get it to go. See, and I think that's why it's not showing the video. as playing, because when you're just looking at the keynote window, it won't, unless you're like doing the full screen. So, and I'm not sure how to get it to.
I'm not very experienced in that. Was that OBS?
I
Yeah.
have no idea what you're talking about.
I use Streamlabs. I don't use OBS.
Oh, okay.
Which essentially does the same thing, but.
Right.
Do you know if we have any like kind of policy for security policy?
I was just thinking that. I don't think we have anything actually like officially written up, which would be good to do.
Yeah.
So, it's funny as we're kind of going through this, I'm thinking of.
And that's why I'm writing notes. I'm like, I don't know about any incident paperwork, if we have one. I think I remember John saying something, John or Mike, saying
Right,
something
incident reports,
briefly about it,
policies.
but
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think.
I've
I
never
don't
actually
think-
seen any paperwork.
For it, yeah. Yeah. So I want to try and, at some point too, maybe even try and schedule a little more of like practicing some of these techniques and stuff too.
Counting too.
Do like a mobile, like, not, I don't know what, how you, what do you call that, just like
He
a
does.
practical workshop, I guess?
Yeah, there's stuff like that for like, people coming in armed and stuff too.
I'm armed everywhere I go, maybe not well armed, but. Yes.
Alex Bucket
Okay.
puts on a concealed carry course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had two of them this summer. I took I actually took both of them.
He used to work at the bank too.
The regular one and the advanced course.
Oh, okay.
So,
Cool.
yeah,
That's yours, Ron?
yep, right up there at the education
It's
center.
a lot better than having to travel all the way to Cheyenne.
Because we talked about it, at one point, we thought the closest one was like Cheyenne.
No,
He just started doing that.
yeah, you get with the,
Oh, okay.
get with the education center, and if there's enough people, they'll put one on.
There you go.
He's qualified by something here, also academy.
Right.
Alex puts one on too, now and then,
Okay.
It's just that
the sheriff.
education
Oh,
center.
yeah, that's what we was talking about.
Yeah, education center's gotta have, so there's enough people that wanna do it.
Yeah, maybe that could be our next,
Yeah.
one of our next trainings, is like just get the whole team down there,
Yeah.
see if you can put one on for us.
And the advanced one is like 20 minutes into class and 3.5 hours out at range.
Sure. Okay.
I'm going through cover and concealment and distance and just
Right.
bring a lot of ammo.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I can call him Monday if you want me to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I
Want me
wish,
to-
I know we got to pick a time, and that might be a good thing to do when it's
Yeah.
And it's
kinda
just
cold and.
The thing is, it's only 8 to 12.
Sure.
That's it.
Okay.
So you do it Saturday morning. Well, you'll have to do it on Saturday, but Saturday morning. But
Maybe I could get with him and see.
yeah, and I think I don't know if we'll be able to do do it as he did this summer because the range closes during the winter.
Indoor range at the right.
The indoor range, he can still
Right.
probably reserve it and put up some stuff.
Right.
I think this is something I'll have to talk to him about.
Right.
Get it done.
Yeah, maybe I'll just, I can talk to him or you can, and just, yeah, just kind of touch base with him and see what, get some more details. Go do some recon.
Also, I know it's just church, but we get quite a few people in here, and especially during second service, where there are two parts of the building. This is a really big building. We need to have an evacuation plan in place.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna go over that. I was hoping to have a, maps done up, cause Des just redid the whole building thing.
I was
I wanna
thinking
blow
about
up
that.
images of that and
Those
have,
drills
cause,
he was talking about doing, where you have the person in the chapel yelling and don't have everyone split out the sides, but we do have doors on each side.
it's true.
We do
Which I
have
know
doors
is
on,
covered.
we do have doors on each side, but they can get out that way
Yeah.
and go into East Storage and go out that back
Yeah.
door.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if we had to, they can go out those sides
Yes.
there,
Mhm.
and then there's ways to get out away from the chapel where the incident is happening.
Right.
Right.
Because usually those doors, those front doors are closed and one's partially open.
Mhm.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's filling out like first grade again. Do you think it's part of this, evacuation stuff, that, we need to be like some of the hospitals to where you put things on the ground? Evacuation route, follow the red one.
Maybe not
wouldn't go
necessarily on
that
the floor,
far.
Okay.
but I think like a lot of
Mass
places,
invisible areas where a
Yeah.
lot of people.
maybe more like a regular business, yeah, or even over, you know.
I know at the prison, we don't have the stuff on the floor, we just have maps
Yeah.
in every area of the.
Same with the school district. Like if you're here, this is where you go,
And.
you know,
and
or
we're-
here, have 2 or 3 options.
We're really only talking about one day a week, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's not like there's a whole bunch of people in here every single day.
Mhm.
Just Ron and Kathy, and they should know their evacuation.
I hope they do.
Open the window and jump out. You got your little rope ladder to go out the window?
Well, there's fire escapes everywhere,
Right?
so.
I could burn down a brick building.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
They're
everything
way
inside it ain't brick.
Yeah.
It's all that wood stuff inside.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of plaster too.
that's true.
That's true.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So. But,
Just something to think about.
yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, like I said, I was hoping to have, some maps done up by now, but I'll get those made up and put them up, like, depending on if you're in Kid City, have that part of the map blown up, exit routes, this part, you know, or even the shop too. I mean, for, thankfully you got a massive door on the
I
back
was
of the
gonna
building.
say, the shop's not really that hard to get out of.
But if something happens to that and it's obstructed, like,
Well, you can go either way. There's that door that goes out into the courtyard, or you can go out through East Storage.
right. Or if it's not,
There's several exits from this building
oh yeah,
that most people don't know about.
yes, yeah.
Speaking about knowing about buildings, when I was working at the hospital, Derek, he was a guy in charge of maintenance and materials. He said, hey, let's go down to the basement. I said, this is the basement? And, that's where he showed me I think 3 humongous boilers. But as we kept going, they've got a circular staircase
Oh,
in the basement.
yeah.
Takes you out here, pop up right there by the entrance. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't think the new CEO knows he's got a circular staircase in his building.
There you go. We got one in this building.
Yep, seen it.
So,
Yeah, I know where that's at.
yeah.
Where is it?
And a basement.
It's in your house.
Yeah, it's a water bottle shelf right now. Yeah, it is. Unusable, yeah. Yeah, no, so we're planning exercises and stuff, kind of other training later that way. But go ahead and get back to this here. Just a couple shorter videos. On suspicious vehicles, which is good to know, especially for whoever, well, I think at one time or another, everybody should be out there, you know, watching the lot. It's, you know, which, we don't have a huge parking lot, you know, or even really a parking lot, just the curb, but.
I go out there, I mean, I don't know how much you'd be doing it in the winter time. I go out there and walk
Mhm.
around the building during second service.
Right. There you go.
I also do, except for the front doors, all the outside doors should be locked.
Yeah.
And I come in that, I've been over this with Mike Holmes 1,000 times. That back door is supposed to stay locked.
The kitchen kitchen door, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I leave it unlocked if I'm going out there and I'm coming back in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect somebody to lock it if there's actually somebody out there, but
I will.
I've come,
I think I've done it to you before.
yeah, you do. He locks me out,
It's a habit.
and that's fine. And I totally get it, and it should be a habit. But I've come through that back door numerous of times when it's unlocked and there's nobody around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. So, and it is a small town,
I don't
but
think we're going over the
still.
video, but he talks about the number of doors that should be unlocked is how many MODs you should have
Mhm.
circulating your church.
Yeah, like minimum.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
have one door unlocked, should be,
Well,
there's
we
just
usually-
two of us, but if we have
and we
two
usually-
MODs, you can have two doors theoretically unlocked.
Well, and we usually have one or two people out front,
Yeah.
but is there anybody surveying the outside of the building, looking for suspicious vehicles,
Right.
looking for suspicious people?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we'll cover some of that too, like even expectations for around here, you know, so, which I don't know if we've ever really laid those out before in an official training setting, so we'll cover some of that. This is kind of the information for, you know, kind of general stuff, and then we'll kind of zero it in a little bit more here, hopefully, after lunch with the more SBC specific stuff. Say that 10 times fast.
Well, cause I was walking around outside one day, it was in the summertime, so I totally get it, but the doors to Kid City were wide open.
Mm,
Anybody could have walked in there,
yeah,
and they're all in classrooms.
yeah,
Nobody's out there watching those doors.
yeah.
Anybody could have walked
They
in.
should be locked now, and I know when I check them in first service, I walk around and check the doors,
Mm.
and they're all locked, they should all be locked, except for this front door.
Well, now, they're not using that
Exactly, that's
entrance
why it should
anymore.
be locked now.
So that should be locked always.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. The Kid City kitchen. I would make sure every once in a while I'll come into the breezeway, you know, and make sure that outside one stays unlocked, but the inside one is combo locked. So
Like it is there.
it's a different it's a different type of lock, but yeah,
Is it the same combo though?
yeah, for all the other numbers. So everybody should have that already. So, but we'll go ahead and do a couple shorter videos here. One of them's 10 minutes. One of them's about 15, 16 minutes. So we'll go through these and go over some suspicious vehicles.
Welcome to Christian Warrior Training. My name is Keith. In this episode, we're going to take you outside of the church because we're going to teach you how to contact suspicious vehicles. Now, a lot of times when we look at cars that we need to contact in the parking lot, a lot of you just want to go walk right up and go contact them. But there's more to it than just that. We're going to talk about safe approaches. We're going to talk about how to position yourself with the vehicle so you don't get hurt. And at the same time, you're friendly, but you still have a plan to protect yourself if you need to. Now, it's cold out here in southern Idaho right now. It is below freezing. If anybody complains about the cold, they have to put their pronouns in their bio. Now, if you hate when people put pronouns in their bio, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, like, leave a comment. The algorithm likes it. Like I told you earlier in many different episodes, I've told you that all problems start in the parking lot. If there's an active shooter, they have to come into the parking lot and then come into the church. If somebody wants to kidnap a child, if they want to disrupt the service, if they want to do anything like that, they all got to start in the parking lot. And a lot of times they sit in their car and they wait and somebody will complain about it. And so you have to go out and check it out. So we're going to go show you exactly what needs to be done. We're also going to show you the scenarios that we're doing as well. We're doing a couple of different scenarios for all of our people. We have about 40 people out here today. We have 4 different scenarios. We're only going to be able to do 3 on here. Otherwise, YouTube will demonetize us because one of them, it involves an act of violence that, well, they'll ban us and ban the video. So we've got to kind of work around those issues. But if you want to replicate this at your church, I got the entire outline along with the scenarios in a download over at courses.christianwarriortraining.com. You can head over to our courses. You can find the one dealing with suspicious vehicles, and then you can find the download over there, and you can watch the video over there and get a certificate of training at the same time. If you want to support what we're doing, head on over to ChristianWarriorTraining.com and subscribe to our newsletter. And then each week we'll give you spam-free information about keeping your church safe. All right, let's go head out to the parking lot. A lot of times we have cars in the parking lot that are suspicious and we need contact. If we don't have any training, what people tend to want to do is to want to make a forward approach to the car. Like, this is the easiest path. A lot of people just look for the easiest path. So the car is suspicious. I came from over there. And just walk up and go like, hey, how are you? How are you today? Welcome to the church. That's bad because the person can see you. You're out in the open. You can't really see them. They've got the advantage. We want you to be an enhanced greeter. We want to make sure that when you talk to them, you're friendly, but still have a plan to defend yourself, right? So part of defending yourself is, let's say I'm coming, somebody reports a suspicious vehicle, no matter what it is. Most of the time I'm going to come out from right here, and I'm going to look for a safe path for me to go contact that person. So that safe path may not be straight out the door and making a beeline for the car. It may be, I'm going to come this way because I've got the pillars for cover. And then now that brings me to the back of the vehicle. And so now as I come up to the back of the vehicle, we're not going to do anything fancy, but we're coming back on this way because if that person, they can see me in the rearview mirror, but if they want to attack me, they have to turn around, and that's my first warning sign. And I can see them raise a gun or do whatever. The other thing is, this is called the B pillar. This is pretty thick. I've got some concealment in that it's hard for them to see me. It's the blind spot of the vehicle. But also, if he shoots at me, I can kind of come back like this. I can come backwards, and now he's actually got to physically come out to shoot me. But we want to make sure they're just not afraid to come inside the church and come see us. So we want to make sure they're not suspicious, but we also want to make sure that if they did want to come in and worship, that we get them inside. So I like just come around going like, hey, my name's Keith. I'm with the church. How are you today? And then the minute you start talking, and somebody earlier brought up this great point, one of the things that they said was they did that the other day, and the person was like, oh, hey, yeah, I'd like to come in. Is there assigned seating? They were obviously a new Christian, and they were afraid. And we're now here. When they were suspicious, they're obviously not suspicious now. So right now it's like, oh, well, let me help you find a seat. No, it's not assigned seating. Why don't you come on inside and we'll get you a seat. Let's go. And then now you come inside. And also when they open the car door, you can see that when the car door opens, now I've got the free view of inside the vehicle, right? And now I've double checked everything. I'm like, oh man, for sure this guy is not suspicious. He's just afraid to come in. All right, hey, come on in, man. And then now you got a new friend. And now you hang out. Or conversely, you come up here and they were going to do an active shooter event, and now you just interrupted it. And you come up and like, hey, I'm Keith, I'm with the church, and all of a sudden the guy starts pulling the gun out. You can now engage from here. You can step back, engage from back here. Now let's talk about we talked about the approach, and that approach when you come up, look for escape routes, points of cover, like if all of a sudden the guy starts the car up and I realize he's going to try and run me over, my escape point is to come back to the pillars, because the pillars back there are actually sturdy pillars, and that's my first route to get out and out of the way, right? So I can start backing up to get out of the way. If this person decides to use his vehicle as a weapon, the chances of you stopping it with your pistol or even an AR-15 is minimal, okay? I've been to a couple of officer-involved shootings where vehicles are involved, and your only option is to incapacitate the driver, which is to shoot him in the head, basically. And your chances of doing that are minimal. If you hit him, he's going to have to bleed out, and that's going to be a couple of minutes. So what point I'm getting at is you shooting at this vehicle to stop it, get it out of your head. That ain't going to happen. LAPD or LA County did a great video where they got a car that was running, and they let it drive forward, and all they did was everybody shot it with everything. Pistols, shotguns, whatever they had. That car ran for another 10 minutes. And was drivable.
And in tests conducted by our training staff, weapons readily available to patrol deputies have proven ineffective at stopping vehicles. 9mm and .45 caliber rounds were unable to stop a moving vehicle, and a majority of the rounds did not penetrate the passenger compartment. Deputies fired 4 rounds each of 9mm, .45 caliber, double-aught buck, .223 caliber, and 12-gauge rifled slugs had an engine while it was running. The vehicle's engine was not disabled and continued to run even after being driven for over a mile.
Now, when we look at vehicles, I want to talk about points of cover in a vehicle. Now, let's say this is the suspect vehicle that I want to contact. Let's go over to another vehicle that we're going to use for cover while we deal with this. Let's say that our suspect vehicle is over there, the one that we just approached. Now we're going to use cover on our way up. So I'm going to use this vehicle as part of my cover on my approach. And it's also going to be part of my escape route. It's a Subaru. It's a kind of a standard car for where we're at in Idaho. There are points like if I stand here for cover, I've got a lot of empty space and bullets can still come through, right? The points of cover on a vehicle are going to be the engine block. The engine block, the wheels, do a great job of stopping rounds. I probably shouldn't stand here because I got the windows. This does nothing for me. Bullets do funny things inside doors. So modern cars have so much stuff in it. There's cross beams, airbags, wiring and stuff. And what I've noticed, I've shot a bunch of cars, and then I've also been to shootings where bad guys and cops are shooting into cars. And one thing I've noticed is that bullets, and we've done this with in fact, let me give you an example. We use an Extreme. Our snipers, we do training of shooting into cars with our 308. So let's use the 308 as an example. It's entering the car door, and they're immediately fragmenting because everything's tearing that bullet apart. So when it gets through, it's doing damage, but it's not going on this direct path that people expect. So this is okay. Just know that a door is okay, but stuff is still going to come through. So I probably don't want to stand here, which means I probably don't want to stand here. I could come down behind the wheel, but I'm a big man that's broken, and it's pretty hard for me to get behind that little tire, okay? So your best bet, if you're going to have to use cover, is here. So let's say I'm going to make my approach, but all of a sudden they're doing an active shooter. And I realize I'm going to have to start the fight here. I'm using this as my cover right here, okay? I got the engine block, I've got the tire, and now I can see the driver. And now I can not return fire. I can either initiate it to stop them or return fire if that's what it comes to. And I'm basing my fight right here. The entire time when I make my approach, I should look at other places that I need to go to for escape routes to aggress. So let's say that this is not an active shooter. This is just a suspicious person. I've reached my last point of cover, and now I'm going to make the approach to the vehicle over here. I know that I can come back here. I want to make my approach from the rear. You never want to come from the front. Now here, as I come up from here, even though the windows are tinted, I can see straight through. Now you keep coming up and I go, hey, welcome to the church. My name's Keith. How are you today? And then we start our dialogue from here, and they'll be like, and they might unlock the door, roll down the window, but they're gonna do something so we can talk. Most of the time, it's gonna be somebody that came to the church that's afraid to come in. But we're doing some scenarios today of all the possible things that could happen at a church. So let's run through some of the scenarios that we're running our people through. I would suggest that you do the same thing before you start the scenario. The first thing that we do, we don't want any live guns out here. We've got a great scene in the parking lot where we have 4 different scenarios going. We don't want one gun, knife, ammunition. We want nothing in here, okay? We don't want any accidents. There's nothing but blue guns here because we're not doing any force-on-force training. Before we do that, we're going to search everybody. Before we came outside, we put everybody in a line, and we searched every single person.
Make sure we got no guns, no knives, no sharp objects, anything like that. Make sure you put it on your chair, and then we'll watch it, carry it outside. Once you're searched, please do not go to your vehicles.
Yes, there are friends. Yes, there are church security team, but people make mistakes. I'll give you a perfect example. I was a rookie cop. We're in training. Everybody's a safety officer. We're about to do training exactly like this, and we had just come back from somewhere. And they said, all right, let's go. And I'm like, hold up. Everybody should be searched before we go back out because we went to our cars. All 30 officers looked at me like, shut up, rookie. But the trainer was a good job, looked at me and said, thank you for reminding me. Let's search everybody. Everybody line up. Literal groan from 30 grown men and women. We lined up, and the guy next to me pulled his slide back on his handgun, and a live round was ejected. 100% somebody would have been shot that day, okay? So we search everybody. We search them, we make sure they have no guns, no knives, no weapons of any kind, no pepper spray, there is nothing. And then they come out and they start practicing. Let's go look at their scenarios. All right, so this scenario is going to be a suspicious vehicle that is circling the parking lot. So the vehicle is observed making multiple slow passes around the parking lot without parking or anybody exiting the car. So the people are going to have to make contact with them, figure out what happened, and then they're going to make a safe approach, figure out what happened, and then take it from there.
Okay. Hey, Clay, I've got a suspicious vehicle. It's been circling the lot for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and go and approach it. Can you cover me? All right. Got a dark blue Honda CRV, license plate 1 Adam 77 Mary Frank. Approach the vehicle and see what's going on. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, what's going on today? You waiting for somebody? I saw you circling around. Are you wanting to come in or?
Well, I just moved here.
Okay.
And, I didn't know what time the service was. I was just
okay. Awesome. Right on. Well, welcome. My name's Thomas. I work here with the church. We actually have service going on right now. If you want to just go ahead and park and come on in, we can get you seated. I can show you around, and we can get you inside. It'd be great to have you.
Sounds great.
Awesome. All right. Cool. There's a spot right here.
All right.
Thank you.
This is a standard church scenario of an abandoned vehicle in the parking lot. So security's gonna have to go check it out, but what some of the things you might have something as simple as it's just somebody left their car here while something's going on, or it could be a sleeper inside the vehicle and they're just using the church as a place of refuge. Either way, they need to go check out what's going on and be that enhanced greeter, but also be ready to protect the church at the same time. Let's go see how they handle it.
Okay, we've got an abandoned car over here. I'm going to check it out. You want to follow me? I'll be lead.
Copy that. I got your cover.
We've got a license plate here we'll check out first. You can let the people know. LAP. I'm going to go to the front if you head to the back.
Copy. I'm on your 6.
Okay, good. I'm gonna check the front.
Yep. Backside's empty.
Front is empty. Nobody's in there. Nobody appears to be in the back as well. Let's just call it in, and we'll go from there.
Copy that.
Okay.
This scenario is a little bit different. You got a vehicle with several occupants that have been parked with a clear view of the church entrance. The individuals inside appear to be monitoring the comings and goings of church members. The scenario involves identifying potential threats, deciding on the level of engagement, and determining the best way to approach that vehicle. And you're going to see with all these approaches, everybody approaches from the rear. We never approach head on. Well, I don't say never. You never say never. You always try to approach from the rear. You don't want to go from the front, because if you go from the front, the suspect sees you, and you usually don't have a lot of good cover as well. But the biggest thing is you're going head on head. Everybody can see everybody, and you don't have the position of advantage. You have the position of advantage from behind. All right, let's watch how they do the scenario.
Hey, I'm Daryl. I'm with the church. Is there anything I can do to help you out today?
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm just not doing well. My kid's really sick.
Oh, no. It's terrible. I'm so sorry. Would you like to talk to one of the church pastors? I can get Jason to come out and maybe sit with you for a little bit. We can pray with you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That's terrible. Okay. Do you want to stay in your vehicle, and I'll just have Jason
I'll
come
step
out?
out for a second if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'll have one of the other gentlemen come and bring Jason out. We can chat a little bit, maybe pray a little bit. If that's
That'd
okay.
be good.
Okay, cool.
That'd be good.
Hey, Johnny, would you go and grab Jason and have him come out and we'll help this gentleman out?
We're coming back in because it's a little bit warmer. I'm not complaining, so I don't have to put my pronouns in my bio. All right, so the biggest thing I want you to remember out of all the training that we've done today is I want you to remember try to avoid approaching the vehicle from the front. Look, sometimes you might have to. We're not saying it's 100%. We know that things are going to happen, but try to make your approach from the rear, and remember to be that enhanced greeter. Always be nice, always be ready to help, but always have a plan to protect yourself. That's all I've got for now. The most important thing out of everything that we remember today is remember your ABCs. Always be caring.
Cool. Anything with that real quick before we do the next one? Okay. And he's mentioned this, what we're going to do here real quick. I think this is the 10-minute video. The contact cover approach. I think it was the first video he talked about the triangle position, 2-on-1 kind of thing. So that's what he's going to cover here just real quick. So we'll go over this one.
This is Keith from Christian Warrior Training. We're going to talk about contact cover. We're going to use this whenever we need to talk to anybody at the church that we think might hurt us, right? So why don't you come on up? You're going to be my suspect. We're going to put him in the center. I'll be the contact officer. Is the contact officer, I'm going to do all the talking. My cover officer is going to come up here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to imagine if there's 4 quadrants around this person. So we've got it taped out on the floor here. When we contact him, I'm going to do all the talking. I'm going to have my bladed stance so I don't get kicked in the testicles. My partner's going to be right here, and then I'm going to start talking. I'm the contact officer, so I'm doing all the talking. I'm going to ask him, hey, welcome to our church. My name is Keith. I'm with the safety team. I noticed that you're acting, people called in and say you're acting a little suspiciously. You look like a nice guy. What happened, man? Is everything all right?
Oh, I was just looking for the bathroom.
Oh, awesome. Let me help you to the bathroom, right? So if we want to keep it low key, okay, we can actually have the cover officer hang back, right? So you can hang way back, and he can look like he's not even a part of it, and I can just come up and go, hey, my name's Keith. I'm with the safety team. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
All right, hey, somebody called and said you were suspicious, but you actually look okay to me, so.
No, I'm just looking for the bathroom new to the church here.
Oh, awesome. Let's do that, and then I tell you what, I'll take you to the bathroom, and then we're gonna go hit the welcome center right after. Are we good? All right.
I appreciate
so
it.
see, we found out it's a normal thing, but what if we come up and it's something not cool, right? Hey, my name's Keith. I'm from the security team. We heard, hey, is everything all right? I noticed you're going to a bladed stance.
I've had issues with cops. I don't like you coming up on me.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm not a cop. I'm retired. I'm a free man. All right. So what happened now is my cover officer came up and he took a position. We're now triangulating him, right? And what we want to do is we're actually in the children's ministry right now. So our high schoolers come in here and have service here. So we're going to position ourselves to protect the children. And there's a door right back there. And we want our direction to keep him towards the door and protecting the children, right? But let's say it was opposite, okay? Let's say we actually want him to go this direction. I could come up and I can go, hey, my name's Keith. I'm with the safety ministry. I just want to talk to you a minute because some people said you were a little suspicious, right? Now, see what I did is he's reacting to the direction I'm going, and that's exactly what I want, right? So we talked about quadrants. I'm going to take this quadrant. I'm going to do everything. All he's going to do is make sure I don't get hurt. But what if he takes a quadrant that's not connected to me? Why don't you go ahead and take that quadrant over there? How do you feel right now? It kind of, now see, we're also now in a crossfire, okay? So if something pops off, we're now shooting at each other. So we want to take connected quadrants. And since we want him to be away from the door, because for some reason we don't want him going out that door, you can come over here, and we're taking connected quadrants. And now we've we've blocked the door. He can't come to the door right now, and we're putting him in this direction, okay? So now we can have our conversation, right? When I first contacted him, he actually did a pre-attack indicator. Can you do that again for me? So go back to the bladed stance you're in. Right when I came up, he went into a bladed stance, and now he's keeping his hands up. It's called a pre-attack indicator, all right? So I keep my distance when I do it. I always contact people with at least a 10-foot distance, because if he's going to attack me, I'm going to have an indicator before it happens. He's got to make some movement, so I can sidestep, I can back up, I can meet his aggression and take this to the ground, I can divert them. There's all sorts of things that we can do, not a defensive tactics class. We just want to show where our people are here, right? So we're in connected quadrants. We're in a triangle, right? And we're good to go. Let's say that I contact him and he does something that causes me to want to call the police. So let's say we got a call that he was peering in at the children's ministry and he obviously has no kids and he's acting weird. I can come and go, hey, my name's Keith. I'm with the security team. Hey, we got a call that you were peering in looking at the kids. Is everything okay?
I was just, I've always been interested in the children's ministry.
Awesome. Okay. What's your name?
I'm not really comfortable giving that out to you.
Oh, okay. Hey, this is Keith. I'm in the children's ministry. Can you call the police and ask them to respond for a suspicious person?
That's totally not necessary. I'm not suspicious. I'm just looking at the kids. Okay, that sounds bad. I'm just coming around to look in the children's ministry.
It is bad. It is bad. Are you a sex offender by chance? Do you have any sex offender arrests? No, okay. Usually that means yes. So
Well,
I'm just trying to figure things out here. I don't want you to get in trouble. Maybe we can work things out. Do you have sex offender history?
not really. You got a friend here. I don't really want to talk about
Tell the police to step it up. We got a pedophile. No, I'm just kidding. So, look, it doesn't hurt to ask questions either, right? One of the things that we went over is when we just trained our entire church team. And one of the things that came up was somebody said that the person kept readjusting their shirt and moving around. That is a pre-attack indicator. It indicates that somebody is armed. And they're covering their gun, they're moving it, they're touching it to make sure it's where it's supposed to be if they have to come on and do something. And they were saying how it made them nervous. It does not hurt, so go ahead and make those movements, those pre-attack indicator movements, okay? So he just pulled his shirt down, and now he's doing this. Sir, do you have a handgun on you by chance?
It's Idaho.
So that means yes. All right, I need you to keep your hands at your side. You're gonna have to leave now, all right? You're getting trespassed. I need you to come on out. And the reason why we're doing that, it is Idaho and it is legal, but we're here because he's peering on the children, and we do have the authority to kick out anybody we want. I don't like that he has a handgun. He did give me some pre-attack indicators, even though it's legal in Idaho, and everybody in our church has a gun, right? There are guns all over this church, and we're good with it, and you are free to have a concealed handgun in our church. But obviously, we've got somebody that's peering at the children. He can't answer questions that we've asked him to. We have the police coming. I asked him if he's armed. He says he is. I want him away from the children. I have the authority to make him move, and I'm going to do that now. So with our contact cover, right, we're going to come up, and now as I readjust him, we're going to say, hey, it's time for you to leave. We can go out that door. Keep your hands at your side. Don't grab your gun, because I got one too. All right? And so as we do this, we've maintained our contact cover, and we're getting them out the door, right? Okay, so let's come on back here. Let's reset. We don't want you, what we don't want is we don't want you to be the police, okay? We're not going to search him. We're not going to take the gun from him. He has, there's no crime that's been committed. We're not the police anyways, but we do want him to leave. We're going to maintain this contact cover. We can adjust, right? If something happens and I decide I need to come over to this quadrant over here, my partner's going to readjust and he's going to come over to an adjoining quadrant. So we have these 4 quadrants. We never want to be in a non-aligned quadrant, because if we do, we're in a crossfire. We are now making him paranoid, right? And we want to be in a position where he can support. His only job is to support me. That's it. He's actually a really nice guy. He's in charge of our campus in another city. So just so you guys know, he's actually a great guy. All right. Yeah, I think that's all we got. So what I want you to do is, from here, I want you guys to go to your campus. I want you to lay out the lines just like we have here. And then what I want you to do, I want you to lay these lines out just like that. Go to your campus, and then I want you, I can see the camera moving up. There we go. And then I want you to practice this. I want you to just put somebody in the middle, and I just want you to practice contact cover. Sometimes we want you to go hard, right? It's like a disruptor. Let's say you have I gotta be careful with what words I use on YouTube. A Middle East supporter of an organization that hates Christians. If you starting to yell in your church, we're gonna contact them. Now let's go ahead and be my cover officer. And the camera is the person. We're gonna come up and we're gonna go, hey, it's time to leave. We need to go, all right? and we're gonna make that happen. But what if it's just a person that is just suspicious, but we don't wanna be overwhelming, we wanna be enhanced greeters, right? If that's gonna happen, my cover can hang back a little bit, okay? And then I'm gonna come up to them and I'm just gonna say, hey, my name's Keith, I'm with the Welcome Ministry. Is there anything I can do to help you today? I haven't seen you before. And then we can go from there. And if all of a sudden it's something bad and I get the heebie-jeebies, I can just go, come on up, and then now he's gonna come up, and then now we can take care of business, all right? So that's contact cover in a nutshell. Let me know in the comments what you think. That's all I got for now. Remember, the most important thing besides praying for the safety of you and your church, the second most important thing you can do is remember your ABCs, always be caring.
We don't get the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, technical term.
Technical term.
So, yeah, like I said, we didn't really lay out time to kind of go through some of these exercises. Maybe we'll do that future. Yeah, good to have you back up. So, any question on that or the vehicle approach? I mean, it's pretty straightforward out here. The only thing I was thinking of is like we don't really have like cover out in front of our building, you know, except for the building, which it's like it's that close. So.
No, but you're not gonna take them on straight on. You're gonna walk down a few vehicles and go around and come up on the back side.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy to do that. Like you're just checking things. If you notice somebody, you can go down a couple more, come back up around behind. Yeah, and while you're doing that too, and that's another thing we probably need to get back.
Radio for backup.
We need to get back into that habit, I think, too, and even to where we've got one over in Kid City, just there, so that if anything comes up there, they can have something. It's interesting that they actually like that turned into, I think, kind of accidentally a pedo situation. That's one thing we actually, I mean, Pentown, we actually really should be pretty aware of that. I think it was actually
a list of them all.
Right, and I need to update that. And you can go on. I've actually got the website pulled up on my phone. I just double checked it again. You can print them out. You can have there's pictures.
A lot of them are inside the prison, but there are some that are floating around.
Yeah. I think between Rollins and Sinclair, there's 140 some listed on the sex offender registry as living here. There's like 160 some between like here and like Torrington. Somehow it's got like Torrington in there too, but you know, between here and Torrington. We actually had a situation the first year we moved out here at the Thanksgiving dinner where there was this younger guy going around like showing his phone to the teenage girls and stuff.
And upstairs, that's when we stopped.
Yeah, we're trying to go upstairs. He was inviting them out to his car. Like it was bad. And probably should have got way further along than it should have. But I don't think really anybody was prepared for that. I mean, even Caleb, like working for the sheriff's department at that point, like kind of caught off guard a little bit, you know. So, like I say, a lot of information we've kind of gone over here today so far. But yeah, if you want to go back over any of that, I encourage you to go over to Christian Warrior Training and rewatch some of those videos. But anything else? Comments, questions? Pretty straightforward there. Okay, cool. Well, we'll go ahead and break for lunch here. Looks like we got some grub out here. So I don't know, Marlon, you want to bless the food for us?
Lord Jesus, thank you for this gathering today. Thank you for the food that you're providing. Thank you for the hands that provided it. And we just ask for you to help us nourish our bodies. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Make the cheese one too, right?
Not yet. Do we want it?
I do.
Okay.
Now you said it.
I had a thought halfway through that last one.
Oh. You have your hat on.
No, I'm working on that. Shifting things around.
Good.
it be an evening star shines down upon you. May it be when darkness falls, your heart will be true. You walk a lonely road. Oh, how far you are from May it be the shadows call will fly away. May it be you journey on to light the day. When the night is over, you may rise to find the sun. Morning air, to
Mike, did you eat lunch? I can see them have their pizza in there.
They're actually flat shirt bolts, so we'll put that
When did you say kids are coming up here, which weekend? They'll be here this last, I'll be first, I'll be here for 3 hours. I'll be here Friday, Saturday,
Yeah!
information. This is more where the little handouts and some of the information you got there on the table will come in a little bit more handy for this. But so that a lot of general practical information, a lot of different.
Picture of my house up there.
It was so pretty. I couldn't think of a better picture. Well, I've almost got your house covered up.
Well, that's funny. I have a picture of it on my phone too.
I'm pretty sure it's out there. I don't know how much we can do about it now at this point, but
Well, that's really not my place,
it's true.
because, see, I can see that that's a whole different down there than you matched that for.
It's true, yeah. It's a completely different building, yeah. So, no, that's a lot of general information we've gone over, a lot of different churches can use, and we want to take that and obviously apply it for us, for here, kind of the practical side of things. And a lot of that is, of course, the what, right? But I kind of want to just go over some of the why, right? Because without the why, the what doesn't really, or the how, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, why are we actually doing what we're doing here? And it's kind of goes to really the core values of our church here at Sinclair Baptist, that's really a lot of it has to do with why I really appreciated Keith's emphasis on going back to, we want to welcome people, we want them to come in, we want them to have that, and really the whole idea behind this is creating that environment for certain things to happen, right? It's more than just having somebody at the door to say hi. It's more than having refreshments. It's more than we don't just walk the building to hurt our feet. There's a reason why we're doing things. It's intentional. There's a purpose behind it, and a lot of that, like I said, kind of goes back to these core values. The main one, of course, we're trying to create an environment for intimacy with God, right? And we won't go through this here too deeply, right? But Philippians 3 talks about knowing Him, the power of His resurrection. That's one thing we're really trying to cultivate in our people and give them that environment where they can come, they can worship God, right? Draw closer to God, and even what my goal is, even on a Sunday, to help equip them for the rest of the week. If it's just on Sunday, right, which is important, right? But if I can't give them anything to take outside of these doors, then I'm not doing my job, right? But then part of that is creating that environment where they can get that, where we can give them the help that they need. Where we can all get the help that we need from God, from His Word, right? By cultivating that intimacy with God, and it helps to have a safe environment, right? Comfort is part of that, right? People are distracted with this, that, or the other, then they're not going to be able to focus, right, on intimacy with God. Or a second core value around here is active spiritual relations. We want an environment, and again, kind of one of the rules that we talk about, fairly frequently around here. No friends till noon. That's why that's a rule. We want to be welcoming. We want to be engaging. We want to and the more you do that, the more you cultivate that environment, and people see that, and it's like, okay, a lot of that is leading by example. You can there's do as I say, not as I do. That only gets you so far. It doesn't really work like that. But again, creating that environment where we can cultivate one-on-one relationship with God, but then relationships with each other, right? And all of this goes to creating that safe environment, not just for grown-ups, but for kids. And then parents will bring their kids, right? If they know, hey, the nursery is safe. Hey, Kid City is safe. Hey, these guys are here to help, right? Guys and gals are here to help, to keep us safe and be ready if something, God forbid, happens. And that's one thing I mentioned Sunday. We have a security team, for when that can never happen here, happens here, because it seems like. Nobody, nowhere, no time is really exempt. You get stories fairly frequently. Well, we're out in the sticks. Everybody knows each other. Well, sometimes that doesn't matter. And we got a lot of different factors. I mean, Penn Town, to a refinery. A lot of big employers around here.
Right on I-80.
Right off of I-80. Yeah, truckers. Like that's a fairly regular looming concern, we got to be aware of, in this area. So we want to cultivate those active spiritual relationships, right? Have you know, we can either, you know, hurt people when we're engaging with them, or we can help them. We want to help them, right? And then too, it's like, you know, the whole self-defense question too is like, well, why, you know, if you're so loving, why would you do that? Well, it's not, you know, that we have any aggression or any animosity or hate towards the person we're acting against. In the event that we have to act against them, it's for the love and the safety and the concern for the people we've been really charged with protection. You know, it's like the same principle as protecting your house. You know, I don't hate the person who just busted my door in at 2 in the morning, right? I love my family. That's why I'm going to protect them. You know, and that's why we're out here, why we're active, not to, you know, bully people and pick on them. We welcome them, but we're ready to address the threats, right? And then in a small way, I mean, ultimately this core value is about, you know, outside the walls of the church, but a lot of times on a Sunday, what's outside the walls comes inside the walls. You know, so there is an element of community engagement in there as well, right? It's the perfecting of the saints, the work of the ministry. It's kind of Sundays is kind of a rare occasion where, you know, again, the community comes to us, right? Versus the rest of the week where we're to be engaged out there with them, and we want to show them that in a Christ-like loving spirit, that hey, we're here to help, you know. And that's really where we're going with this is to create these environments that cultivate these core values, right? Of course, our fourth core value is spiritual deployment. It has to do with missions, not so much applicable here, but we want to create an environment that is healthy to these things. Hence, then the MOD. What is an MOD? Well, you've got your handout there, a little logo that Ben has taken the liberty of creating for us. Appreciate that. And there's been some questions, some, you know, discussion. You know, what does MOD stand for? Man, that was a new term for me coming out here. Right? I think between me and Ben, we've got several different answers on what that means. So we're just laying it out here right now, right here. MOD, if anybody asks you, it's the Ministry of Defense, and welcome you, ministers of defense.
It's for a patch.
Right, there you go.
On a hat or a t-shirt or whatever.
Yeah, we got a coat of arms and everything almost there. So, yeah. And again, appreciate the work Ben's put into that too. As well as our mission statement you've got there as well. Part of our goals, again, it ties into those core values, right? In our mission statement, the mission of our church security team is to provide a safe, secure, and peaceful environment for our congregation, staff, and visitors. We are committed to a ministry of presence, serving as a vigilant yet welcoming force that protects our community without compromising the spirit of hospitality and love that defines our church. And it really does. I mean, if sometimes, you know, when we get visitors and people coming in, sometimes, you know, hey, how'd you hear about us? You know, and so often I've gotten the reply, well, we just heard that you guys were a welcoming church, and you know, you really cared about families and kids, and it's like, yeah, that's what we want. That's the reputation we want in the community, right? And then through proactive deterrence, swift and compassionate incident response, and continuous preparedness, which is part of this, thank you again, we are dedicated to ensuring that our sanctuary remains a place of worship and refuge for all. We stand ready to respond to any threat, protect every life, and uphold the sanctity of our sacred space. And again, whether it's the regulars, right, or around here sometimes they're irregular regulars, right? the turnaround, right, sometimes is kind of crazy, or people just coming to check us out, you know. I mean, you're gonna have people with issues, people with baggage, right? People that need help, and that's what we're here to do. And this is how we create that environment. And give you kind of a verse that goes along there with that. Again, 1 Peter 5:8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil is a roaring lion walking about, seeking whom he may devour. It's interesting because vigilance pays, you know, and looking for those signs, even just on a physical aspect, right? I like Dave's emphasis at the end of one of those videos, you know, prayer. You can never pray too much, right? We've got to be investing in our own intimacy with God, our relationships with each other, because I was actually thinking about this week. Satan is a master imitator. Right? I was actually kind of explaining a little bit of the Chronicles of Narnia story and series to my little girl. Clarissa, we got a little storybook from the library, you know, about the White Witch and some of that stuff, and, you know, C.S. Lewis and all that. And so I was telling her about Aslan and the lion and all this, and I told her, I was like, did you know what the Bible calls Jesus? It calls him the Lion of the tribe of Judah. right? But Satan, right? He comes out there imitating, but as he's imitating, his goal is destruction, right? And he doesn't care if that's spiritual, right? Spiritual destruction. He doesn't care if that's physical, right? He's just out for a body count, right? And in Christ's power and His might, that's what we're here to do, is to do our part, do what He's called us to do. And again, not just even focus on the temporal, but again, create that environment where we can point them to the ultimate answer, right? The ultimate solution. Pull away some of the distractions, pull away our own distractions, things going on in our own lives that we're working through ourselves in our relationship with Christ, and point them to the answer, not a solution, but Christ, the lion. And this lion tends to like to get in the way. So, kind of again, just some kind of vision stuff there for you. Again, you can't, if there's no why, the what, and the how don't really matter, right? If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Those are our goals. We want to create that environment for believers to thrive, right? For families to thrive, for relationships to thrive, and the ultimate relationship to thrive as well. So, just kind of go over real quick some expectations for us, for our church, some things that we do around here, just procedural wise. If you want, write these down. If you'd like me to send them to you later, I can do that. Just kind of a brief overview of what we expect. A lot of this we can go into more depth. We do, it's for me. I'm a tactile and visual learner. I do better when I can actually go and do the thing. Maybe some of you are as well. But and a lot of that stuff we can just have the notes, put it into practice on Sundays, right? Go over it again, just reinforce it. But kind of just go over a quick list here as far as what we expect from our MOUs, from our security, even just with relation to on-the-job training. Of course, we got our pastoral dashboard where we keep track of the attendance, the offerings. We're making sure make sure we're filling that out. We did have a little bit of designating some envelopes here. There was the bottom line, there was a little bit of issue on counting. So just make sure that we're getting, I think the way Ben does it, I think maybe it'd be a good way for everyone to do it when we're doing the offerings in the envelopes. Just leave it in the envelope, don't empty it. Just mark it on the dashboard how many there are, and then you got envelopes, checks, cash. So.
Well, on the back of those envelopes, there is a window where you can see that there's something in there.
Right. Yeah.
One of the issues that we had was we got an envelope, which was listed as an envelope it was before you guys had the sheets reprinted. But there was nothing in it.
I think that's this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
To where it got like pulled out or something, counted as cash, but then like the envelope got counted too. Or I
was in there for that. That did not happen. I don't know.
Okay.
It either came in with nothing in it.
Okay, and that's
or it fell out when they put
Okay.
the offering, but that envelope was already open. I just put it in an envelope thinking there was something in it. I never checked.
Okay, and I think actually, not sure if it got sealed or not or what, but yeah, just double check, triple check, 2 signatures. I know Des was a little bit confused about it. The way she explained it, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just, we just accountability, and it's for everybody's protection. We don't want to just say, well, they did or that. It's like, no, we've got 2 people there. Here's the signatures.
Right.
It gets checked again on Monday with her log and everything on there. 2 more signatures. Like it's, just.
Well, that's the thing is, it should have never made it that far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean.
If we're supposed to put them in without opening.
I was gonna say, I don't open the envelopes themselves. So I don't even check to see if there's anything in these envelopes. I see an envelope, I put it to the side, I mark it. And then I put in all the other ones, everything's counted, and it all goes in there. Whether that envelope has anything in it is beyond me.
Well, if you could do.
I'm not gonna check someone's, that's none
No,
of my business.
and that's, we're not asking you to open the envelopes, but Desiree did tell me that there's a window or something somewhere on them where you can
I
actually
feel like that's
see if there's
still
anything.
none of my business on how much that person is.
Well,
yes,
so-
it's not marked, but-
That's like the checks. Like you should up after the service, so
Right.
you give the pastor.
Right, and the 2 signatures on here tell me, okay, they both looked at it. They both set the envelopes aside, and nobody looked at it, nobody checked it, so it is as it was when it was placed in here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if it's empty, it's empty, it doesn't get counted.
They didn't remember to put it in, or there
Right.
was also a $20 bill in the bucket,
Yeah.
and it could have fallen
Yeah.
out when they put it in the bucket.
Well, and it's, I mean, transparency, and calling, like,
Right.
I mean, praise the Lord, they're faithful, they're getting up there. You know, anything could happen. You know, they could have written it down and then one of them put the envelope in, one of them put the cash in, you know, like, it's,
I don't know.
it happens to me, like.
I don't know if they're looking at envelopes,
Right.
I'm like Ben, I put them
Mhm.
aside, I write, we got 3 envelopes.
So I don't even really look at the checks that come in
Yeah.
either. I look at the names that are on it, and other than that, I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what the amount they put on it, I don't even care.
That's fine. That's his expectation. That's my expectation. 2 signatures on me on the envelope tell me that that's happening. Okay, cool. You know, if there's confusion, we'll figure it out. But yeah, that's fine. So if you know, and basically it was an empty envelope. You know, so it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So we'll take care of it as it comes. Feel like it needs to be addressed, we'll bring it up and move on. So pastoral dashboard, again, we talked about this a little bit. I don't have these yet. I do eventually want to get the emergency exit routes hung up in their appropriate areas. We'll have those on the walls, ready, maybe even laminated, you know, ready to go. If, like I said, if you're in Kid City, here's your exit routes. If you're in the shop, here are your exit routes. You know, chapel, atrium, all that good stuff. So make sure, we'll have those up so everybody knows, everybody who comes in, you know, can see those, be aware of those. And then too, you've got your emergency color codes. Actually, John and I put these together here back when he was MOD and I was doing Kid City stuff. More head MOD, that kind of thing. You don't necessarily have to have it memorized. Like I said, I want to get back to where we have those with your guys' tags, or at least on you. You know, but like for now, it's good to, like I mentioned, just keep it folded up, maybe in your pocket or your Bible or somewhere nearby at hand. So some of those good emergency numbers on there as well. Some tips for in the event of an emergency. You know, stay calm. Be clear about where you're at, the location, all that. So, if we have to call Jeff or the sheriff, usually get a pretty good response there.
Is he still a cop here? I
Yeah.
thought he was retiring.
Oh yeah, no, it's within the next year or two, I think. But
Oh, I thought it was like in
They
October.
don't have anybody hired yet.
That's unfortunate for you.
Sorry. No, you're good.
I know,
Yeah.
I thought he wanted to retire in October, so I was like, is he still a cop?
Right. Yeah. Well, and again, whoever it is, we got the Sinclair PD on there. So, again, keep a hold of those. Probably post those up around 2 as well. And part of this too, I want to try and maybe work into the service themselves. You know, like, hey, just for everybody's information, here's just a little bit of either here's your emergency exit routes. Take note of those while you're here. Color codes. If this code gets called or that, kind of address some of that in a service or two here or there coming up. I don't know if we'll go full blown like fire drill.
I don't think you address emerging color codes,
Right.
because your whole idea to have a code is so that everybody.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're
They
gonna have
should
a
go.
code, then keep it.
Pandemonium. Yeah.
If you're gonna have a code, keep it a code. If you
Right.
want it to be known, then
Yeah. Exactly. Good point. Yep.
With people that know it, they're start freaking out because they know what that code is. If you just say we have emergency codes, then
Yeah.
you'll know when one of them goes off.
Right.
Not necessarily what each color means.
Yep. See, that's why we're a team. Thank you for that. I don't think of everything, and I think of some things the wrong way. So, yeah, perfect. Yeah. I got that on there twice. So there we go. We're covered.
Stuff, Sam.
Yeah, times 2. Yeah. And then kind of just some during the service kind of things. Go over this. I think make sure. Make sure that we're active and walking the building. You don't have to be making laps around Kid City and the atrium and outside all the time. But I think Ben and I talked about maybe every 8 to 10 minutes or something. Be up and just double check. Make sure the nursery's still okay. Other than just going to get the count, right? That's one thing on that pastoral dashboard. This many kids and this many workers in Kid City, nursery. Attendees in the chapel. that's one thing. But even after that, let's make sure, you know, we're checking back in, you know, making sure things are okay.
And with, winter coming and, snow, like melting and stuff upstairs does leak really bad in certain spots. I don't know if they've been fixed or not yet, but.
We fixed the roof a long time ago.
Okay, well, I just remember last winter as it was warming up, actually melting, it was
Well, they
raining.
had a drain pipe, thought that it was.
I'm just saying, and just, that's the first time since I've been here that it's leaked that bad, so.
Okay.
I don't, like I said, I don't know if it does it anymore.
And some of it's security, some of it's maintenance, right? You know, if
Still should be.
something's freezing or breaking, yeah, we want to be aware of that. I mean, if you can get upstairs and walk around a little bit too, you know, just double check stuff. When you can, this isn't really, I kind of added this last minute, this isn't really a higher priority thing, but if you see a fire extinguisher, check it, you know, make sure that needle's in the green, and it's still good. So John was big on that. I mean, yeah, it goes to safety to an extent, because I mean, the last thing you want to do is if something breaks out, you know, you reach for an extinguisher and it's gone bad on you. You know, they make us all do it on our buses, you know, at the district. So just if you see one, check it. You notice it. Again, not super high priority, but we do want to kind of try and keep up on those best we can. I remember we talked about certifying those at one point. I don't think we ever have.
I think the one up there at the front is, that's
They
because
haven't
of,
they haven't been done since June 2022.
Okay.
well, the one, who Cogswell.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
He
he
took one
brought-
of them?
He took one of them because it was discharged and he took it and had it recharged and checked out, so that we may have one that's current.
Okay.
Everything else. is-
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's just the one that's up front behind the desk there.
Okay.
That is good, but.
Okay. Now, yeah, you get, I think, well, the company that Blakeman uses,
You gotta find a fire extinguisher.
yeah, the one that Blakeman uses, I think they come out from like Cheyenne or Laramie or something. So,
So I think the place that Penn uses comes from Cheyenne or something.
yeah, I think everyone locally that comes from out, you know. Yeah, hey, while you're here.
I don't usually see them, cause for some reason they come when I'm not there, so.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
I think because they know you're gonna ask them to stop by church.
Right.
I think the last date was either 2022 or 2023.
Maybe Okay. just
get hold of the fire. Or maybe even 2020.
Fire marshal, I don't know, is it?
No, we don't want a fire
Do you,
marshal.
yeah, we don't really want a fire marshal in this building.
No. Is it?
You find a company, talk to Dave, Cogswell, he's got somebody he took that to. You don't want a fire marshal walking in this building.
Yeah, no, Travis can only come here off duty. We're not gonna let Travis in here on duty. And again, that's part of it. It's a big building, it's an old building, so we deal, you know, with the security side of it, but we have to be conscientious of, you know, structural integrity, you know, for lack of, you know, just kind of in general, being aware of things, so. There should still be, on the dashboard, there should still be a spot for maintenance notes,
Yes.
right? Yeah, so make use of that.
It was a separate page, and I think I just made it into one page, so the
Okay.
dashboard's now just one page, and if we need to flip it around, use the backside or anything, we
Right.
can do that too.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Awesome. Let's see here. Get that back on. Okay. Yeah, and then just, you know, obviously walking, checking kids' seating, nursery, like I mentioned. Make sure things weren't just okay when you checked them, you know, that they're still okay. Of course, again, just, okay, I did bring that on there as well. Extinguishers, friendly, you know, let's make sure that we're, you know, it doesn't have to be a fake smile, but just, you know, be cordial, be courteous, you know, and just, again, part of that welcoming environment. Again, awareness too, you know, just, it's easy to, you know, get relaxed. It's church, it's Sunday, working all week, you know, for me too, you know, it's hard to keep that sense of vigilance sometimes, but we want to be aware, you know, keep your head on the swivel and remember the enemy's out there. It's more than just physical, it's spiritual too. And if we, each of us invest in our relationship with Christ, you know, Monday through Saturday, you know, we can bring that into Sunday and, you know, like job, you're bringing it into your family, and you got the armor of God on, and you're ready to rumble. So and point people to Christ. So questions, comments, complaints, I guess. All right. Okay. So and we've taken our own notes, some stuff we need to work on. So first one of these, thank you for your patience, your time, your attention, and that's pretty much it. All I got for today. So with that, why don't we go ahead and just dismiss with a quick word of prayer, and you are now free to roll about the country. So, gracious Father, Lord, we love you. Thank you so much for your love for us. Thank you, Lord, for each one of these volunteers again. Lord, we just give our church to you, Lord, our hearts and our minds, and just as we, Lord, seek to cultivate the proper, Lord, environment here for people to draw closer to you, closer to each other. I pray that you would just help us to allow you to work in that, Father. Just give us that right heart set, that right mindset. Lord, help us be aware. Help us to consider what's been gone over today, Father, and help me and Ben, Lord, as we kind of direct things with our church security team from here on out. And Lord, I pray that you would just help us act together in cooperation with you as your body, God, to just point people to you, the ultimate answer, Lord Jesus. We just pray and ask these things, and ask for safety for everyone traveling the rest of this day. Good day in church tomorrow. And Lord, we just give our church, everyone, and everything in it to you, God. And we pray and ask these things in Jesus' holy and precious name. Amen. Amen. All right. Cool. Oh, done by one. Not too shabby.